Also, we have a long strip of wafer paper, just a rectangular shaped strip, and this is going to be the center of the flower. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just take the scissors and we're going to just cut slits all the way down. You want to leave about 1/2 of an inch of space at the bottom. And you don't have to be really precise with this. The slits don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be cut to the exact length. Just don't cut all the way through it. That's all. And that's what we're, oops, I almost cut all the way through. I would not recommend cutting and snipping so that the end of the scissors snips it, because it can mess things up, especially if you have a thicker pair of scissors. If you have a little itty bitty tiny pair of, you know, really fine detail scissors, you can probably do that. But with a regular pair of scissors, just cut halfway up your, up your scissors, so that you use the top half of your scissors. Otherwise, you're going to be having your little pieces here, the little frayed parts. They're going to start snapping off if you do that. So, oops. I will just hurry here so that we can get that done. Should have got part of them done. There you go. Okay, so yeah, you guys get the idea. We're gonna just slits all the way. And you can make these as tiny or as thick as you want them to be. Oh, I guess we're ending there. Okay, so we've got our little piece here. Again, I'll add this into the little templates. And so let's see. We have our piping gel. We're going to paint just along the bottom part, not where the little frayed part is. See our little, yeah, that part up there, little grassy looking stuff. We're just going to paint along the bottom of it. And just a real, I mean, you can be generous with this. It doesn't have to be super thin. And I'm running out of room to work on this paper towel. Okay, so then we've got just a little bit of piping gel along the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see the actual piping gel or the shininess of it. I don't know. But it's shiny, and yeah. So then we're going to take this and we're going to start rolling it up. You want to let it sit for just a minute so that the piping gel has the chance to kind of seep in a little bit and make the wafer paper a little bit more pliable. But I'm just going to start because, yeah. So mine might crumble a little bit, but it'll be okay. So we're just going to take it and we're just going to start rolling. And we're going to just roll, roll, roll all the way to the end. And it's going to kind of create this little tuft, I guess you can call it. And the wafer paper, or the piping gel will adhere to itself. And then I take the very bottom of it and I kind of just pinch it really tight so that it kind of has a chance to kind of close up on itself. And then just take your finger and you can ruffle out these parts, open it up nicely. Be a little bit careful because you don't want to break them off. I mean, if one or two of them break off, it's okay. But you want to just open it up a little bit. Okay, so there you go. That is our center that we're going to use for our flower, which I thought was kind of a fun idea. Okay, so then we're going to come back to, oh, they're still pretty tacky. We're going to come back to our petals here, and we're going to cut partway up. We're going to cut maybe about halfway. It's not a matter of life or death. I suggest having I've got a wet paper towel here, a damp rag or something so you can wipe your fingers, because this stuff gets pretty, the piping gel is really sticky. And how about to dry my fingers off with? Okay, so we're going to cut slits up the whole thing. And I'm sorry I didn't do this ahead of time. It's still pretty tacky. You want to, they're like sticky. So you want to wait until they're tacky so that you can touch them, but you don't come away with piping gel on your fingers. You just come away with, I mean, it's just a little bit sticky. Kind of like a, oh, I don't know how to, maybe a piece of tape, kind of a sticky. You know, that when you pull your finger away from tape, it doesn't leave any, you know, sticky stuff on it. So that's about the texture that you want it to be. I probably won't be able to wait that long, so hopefully this comes together. Okay, so what I do at this point, I like to make sure that my my petals have some texture to them. And that's something that I think is kind of cool about wafer papers. You can add a little bit of texture to them. You can add a little bit more moisture, and they'll actually start to fold and do you know, different things. But I'm actually just going to manipulate it with a ball tool and a foam pad. And I'm using a plastic ball tool. When I do gum paste, I always use a metal ball tool. I'll use this one so you guys can see the contrast. For wafer paper, I would actually recommend that you use plastic, not a metal, because the metal is going to be a little bit more harsh on it and probably stick a little bit more. So the piping gel is fairly set up. It might be sticking to my pad a little bit, but we'll work around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ball tool, and I'll hold it up here and show you because it's hard to see along there. But I'm just going to kind of press about right here and kind of do an indent, and then I'm going to kind of pull in and, you know, kind of rub here, pull in. And I'm just going to leave some indentations. You don't want to go too hard with this because wafer paper will break. It will tear. So you have to be really careful with that. But with the piping gel on it, it makes it a lot more flexible. So you can actually work with it a little bit and just kind of, if you can see that, kind of, oh, that's really hard to see. Sorry, white on white. But kind of just press in and rub and kind of pull down a little bit here and there. And that is going to give you the indentations, the ruffling, you know, because peony petals are they have a lot of movement to them. And so they're very ruffled, very almost wrinkled. So go ahead and just do that. If you want to, you can flip it over, add a little bit of the petals going outward. I'm not going to do that because my piping gel is too sticky and it would stick to my thing. But if you can see, we have some texture and some movement now with our petal. Again, I'm sure that's really hard to see. But there is some. And then we're going to take our piping gel, we're going to paint a little bit right here on right where the sides kind of meet up. And then we're going to fold it over and press it down. And that's going to give us a curve to our petal, which is going to be pretty cool. So then we're going to take each petal and do the same thing to it. I'm not going to ruffle all the petals because, yeah, we don't have time. We're actually almost out of time. And so we're going to take our our piping gel, we're going to paint our little circle here, and we're just going to start adding the petals to that. So we're going to just take that, fold it over, and start adding them to it. You want them to kind of overlap a little bit. Don't worry about being too perfect about it. It doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. So we're going to just do 5, and then we're going to do another layer of 5 petals. So I'll throw these on here really fast. You can see it come together. Yeah, whoops, it is so sticky. Okay, so there's our 5 petals so far, and then we're just going to do one more row of petals with that. So we're going to do In fact, I don't know if I even need the piping gel. If your if your stuff is sticky enough, you can probably just go without the piping gel. Okay, so I'm just going to do this really fast. And I'm only going to put one more in so that I can show you guys the last part because we're done. We got to be done. Okay, so that's pretty much the flour right there. You can peel, you want to let it dry a little bit. And then we're going to take our piece right here, our center, and we're going to, once it's had a chance to set up a little bit, I'm going to take my scissors. Now that it's had a chance to adhere a little bit, we're going to snip off just a little bit of that end, just a tiny bit, like 1/8 of an inch. You don't want it to go too high or it's going to start falling apart on you. So be really careful with that. And then take some more piping gel, stick it on the end, and we're going to set it down on our flour right there. You guys can see that. So you're going to set it down on the flour. You can use the back of your brush to kind of push it down on there a little bit better. And then, then you can readjust your little doodads and move them around a little bit, whatever you need to do. And that is your fun little flower. I should have done this in a different color. Sorry, guys. But as you can see, I will show you guys again the finished flower so that you guys can see how that all comes together.